How y'all doing? Paul Ryan, your host of the Across the Cowboys podcast here. Guys, before we get into tonight's video, I do want to apologize for there not being an episode tonight. I know I kind of hyped up this episode and I was excited about it and still am. However, we all know if you're a content creator and just, even being human, that sometimes just personal matters get in the way, life gets in the way. So we had to reschedule. But again, I'm still excited for the episode. I'm still excited for the guest. I think you guys still think you guys are going to enjoy it, but I would like to apologize for not having that stream for you guys tonight. What I wanted to talk about tonight was a couple of different things, and one was the report came out, and forgive me, I believe it was Adam Schefter reporting that the Cowboys were not going to use the franchise tag on Tony Pollard, and it's not really breaking news by any means. I don't think anybody expected them to do that, but I wonder, do they have a plan to bring Pollard back? Of course, you didn't want to. I believe the franchise tag to bring him back would have been $12 million. I don't think anybody wanted to bring him back on a one-year deal at that price, all things considered. So, just on that front, not nothing major there, but just kind of, I don't know, maybe letting us know. I don't know. Does that make you think that they're going to go in a different direction at running back? Do you see Pollard playing for the Cowboys again in 2024? Kind of leading, going along with that story. I just read a report by PFN, Pro Football Network, written by John Fields, and I want to say he was it was a free agency kind of prediction, what he thinks the Cowboys will do to their free agent targets, and sticking with the running back theme, like a lot of people have been saying, he thinks that the Cowboys might go after Derrick Henry, which that's been a kind of a popular story, and I don't hate that move. Just of course, it all depends on the price, but I think Derrick Henry still has some juice, and I think he'd be a nice fit in this offense, and I think he'd be amazing in the red zone. I think he'd be amazing short yardage. I just I don't think he'd be somebody I want to give 20 to 25 carries to, but I wouldn't be mad about bringing him in. I really wouldn't. He wouldn't be my first choice, but you know. I that move would kind of get me excited, depending on who we had to compliment him, to give him some rest and whatnot. The other uh, player that he said the Cowboys would target, and this is filling a pretty big hole. Of course, linebacker being that hole was Frank Louvu. Now, forgive me if I'm not pronouncing that right, but he said Frank Louvu, formerly of the Carolina Panthers, would be their next signing. I guess probably be their biggest splash signing in free agency. Again, addressing a need, filling a hole. He's a veteran player, and for me, when it comes to signing veteran players, spending money on guys, I'd rather address that need in free agency, and I'd rather address it with veteran guys that are defensive players. I think it's a lot easier for rookies in the modern NFL to come in, have success right away, as we've seen over the years, especially at quarterback and receiver and running back. I think rookies just have an easier time on offense, adjusting to the NFL, as we've seen, and I would rather spend money and use free agency to add veterans on the defensive end. I just think defense is a lot more difficult. Can take a little bit longer for guys to develop and whatnot. And so that's just my preferred choice, is to add veterans in free agency on the defensive side of the ball. And his last move was the Cowboys bringing back Stephon Gilmore. And of course, that's a move I think all of us would like to do. We like what we saw from Stephon Gilmore. He's a veteran. He provides good depth. He's more than a depth piece, obviously. He's going to be playing opposite of Trayvon Diggs and allowing Deron Bland to go back to the slot. And, more than likely, we're going to be losing Jordan Lewis, who, say what you will about him, but he had his moments last year, and he is a veteran presence. He's a locker room guy, well respected, well liked in the locker room, and I think those guys are important, regardless of how much how much maybe we like those players, or how good or bad we think they are. What they do in the locker room, and that veteran leadership really does a lot for a young team, which the Cowboys are. I hate to see Jordan Lewis go, but if I had to pick between Jordan Lewis and Stephon Gilmore, of course, give me Stephon Gilmore. So yeah, not too much going on. I just wanted to share that information with you guys. Again, just not using the franchise tag on Tony Pollard. Of course, that's an easy move. Yeah, one thing I did want to also ask you guys is, now that the Cowboys do have the franchise tag, I was looking to see if there was anybody that we might possibly franchise tag, and looking at the list of free agents, of course, Tyler Biadasz, Dorance Armstrong, Jonathan Hankins, and just a couple of other depth pieces. But really, those are the names that stood out to me. And I was thinking maybe Dorance Armstrong, but when I looked up the list of what a defensive end that were to get franchise tag, what the cost would be, it was $20 million. And I like Dorance Armstrong a lot. I think he's worth that, but I don't know if I would want to sign him to a 1 year, $20 million deal. I don't. That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Uh, Defensive end, man, that's a if you can have depth at that position, it's almost a luxury. But when you have a guy like Michael Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, Sam Williams, and then Dorrance Armstrong, I know we're going to be losing Fowler probably to Dan Quinn and the Commanders. So that could be an interesting thing to watch. What's going to happen with Dorrance Armstrong. We got him a couple of years ago when he became a free agent. We got him on a steal of a deal at 2 years and $12 million. I imagine he's going to be looking for a pretty big contract because he hasn't had that big deal yet. And I think he's owed one. I don't know. I don't remember the stats off the top of my head, but he's a solid run defender. He can get to the quarterback. He's only 26 years old, and if we could find a way to bring him back, I'd really like to do that. But again, maybe not using a franchise tag. I know you can get creative, like there's a transition tag, franchise tag, non-exclusive tag, things like that. So maybe the Cowboys will go that route. But what do you think? Is there, would you like to maybe franchise tag Tyler Biadasz? How do you feel about the center position? Was Dorrance Armstrong somebody you'd like to franchise tag, or is there somebody else you'd like to franchise tag that might be you think is somebody a key piece to this team that we can't risk losing? Let me know in the comments, guys. And again, I'd like to apologize for not having a show tonight. And as always, thank you guys for the support. And if you have the time, please subscribe to the show. Of course, every Monday night we come at you with new episodes, hopefully to entertain you, but most importantly, inform you. Make sure to give my guy CD Piglet a follow on Twitter. Make sure to give Brendan Smith, the best account manager in the world, a follow on Twitter at Brendan_Smith. And make sure, if you have the time, give your boy Paul Ryan, the host of the show, a follow on Twitter at Paul_Ryan15. I hope you guys have a good Monday night.